now. Yeah, 'cause I'm just beginning, can't stop me now.
Hi, folks. I'm Grover Silcox, and welcome to Boundless, where we give voice to Good Shepherd Rehabilitation's patients and their families. You'll hear the compelling real-life stories of folks who have braved the trials, triumphs, and tribulations of rehabilitation and the boundless possibilities that lie on the other side of that journey. I want to welcome today our guest, Jordan Oplinger. Jordan received a traumatic brain injury, otherwise known as a TBI, from a car accident. Her recovery has been described as a miracle. Incredibly positive, Jordan is in outpatient rehabilitation and goes to the gym where everyone greets her energy with a hello and smile, her positive personality. Jordan, I want to thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. If you would, describe your injury and how it happened, and also describe life before the injury and then afterwards.
Okay. So again, with the accident, it happened about 3.5 years ago, and I don't remember anything. I don't remember where I was going or anything. I can't remember anything with that time. A funny story, I woke up from my coma, and actually I woke up and I kept asking for an ex-boyfriend, and it was totally not my fiance or anything. They were like, no, you're not engaged to him.
Right.
Yeah.
It must have been like coming out.
It was like one of those where you wake up and you're like, this has to be fake. And for like 6 months, I was like waiting to wake up and this all be a bad dream.
Right. And you grew up in the Lehigh Valley.
Yeah.
You're a graduate of Moravian College.
Yes.
Where you were a biology major.
Yes.
And so you must have had your whole life in front of you. You're now 37 years old?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And then tell me a little bit about the challenges after the accident, after you woke up and realized what had happened.
I mean, obviously, the challenges that I face are physical for the most part. And, excuse me, another one that the memory is really frustrating. Like, it's getting better, but my short-term memory is terrible. My long-term is good. I remember that stuff, but short-term needs some work.
Right. And there were so many challenges that you were facing that you realized, like, for one, you talk about your voice changed and your ability to move, of course.
Yes. So that was one of the most frustrating things. I was kind of known for my voice, like having a weird voice. And, I mean, now it's getting much better. It's more close to what it used to be. But in the beginning, I was terrible. Like, I can't feel like the right side of my body, so it's like that includes my mouth and the little area that's supposed to close, so like air doesn't go throughout your nose or something. That's all numb, so it's getting better. But in the beginning, I don't know how anyone understood me.
Right. You know, and you talk about in the beginning, and you encountered this issue and that problem, and it was a challenge just to get out of a wheelchair.
Yes.
Because you were in a wheelchair immediately after the accident.
Actually, it was a challenge to even hold my neck up. Because, like, I had one of those collars because I broke my neck. So it was like, for any amount of time, being able to even hold my head up and not look down was hard. Now we're getting it good with that.
Right. And I think you might have even been told, well, you might always be in the wheelchair. But that wasn't the case, was it?
No. I actually, when I woke up, I thought that I was like, oh no, for a wheelchair the rest of my life.
Right.
But then I was able to move to the walker, and I was able to progress to that pretty quickly. And now I'm on the cane. So or heading in the right direction.
Right, yes, because I saw you come in, you were using the cane.
Yes.
And of course, at that point, I had no idea everything that you went through.
Yeah.
What was rehab like? What does rehab do? How does it work in your case? Because I guess everyone is different.
For me, it was very helpful to have people like, it sounds so stupid, but to be able to realize, oh, I need to focus on this, oh, I need to work on this. Like, being able to even figure out what you need to focus on, like having that guidance is necessary, I think, in the beginning. Now it's less and less, but...
Do you work with a physical therapist?
I have occupational therapy and then I have physical therapy. Now, I used to have vision also and speech. Speech, because obviously, and vision, I don't see great, like I wear contacts, but something with the brain injury, like knocked these wires loose in my head or something,
Right.
so I don't... My vision is a little bit affected, but now it's pretty normal.
It's really amazing, isn't it, how
Yeah.
much the brain does?
You don't think about it like it is really fascinating. And I'm a biology major.
I was thinking that, yeah.
I'm used to anatomy and physiology labs, like knowing the brain, like studying the areas of the brain, but this kind of puts it all into perspective, really. Like, you were reading about it, and it was very objective, and now you're right in the middle of it.
Right. You've come a long way.
Yeah,
In the short, what is really a short amount of time.
relatively, yeah.
And your recovery so far has been called a miracle.
Yeah, that's good.
And a lot of folks say that you have this positive energy
Yeah,
and this positive attitude. And that's not easy because it's not like you don't go through your bouts with depression and being down. How important is it to have that positive energy, to keep a positive, your sight's positive?
I'm basically just resorting back to, like, what I grew up with, sports, and you have to have a positive attitude to really be effective. And I remember one tournament, my dad was like 8 years old or something, and my dad like yelled at me, like, get your head, come on, like, get your head right. And he like yelled at me, like hardcore yelled at me, like.
Right. You were at an athletic event. You remember
And now I remember
what
it
you were
was
playing?
Softball.
Softball.
Yeah, that was my main sport.
Right. And you must have had a bad game, so to
Yeah.
speak, and your dad wouldn't let you.
Yeah, hang my head or anything. 'Cause,
Right.
I mean, if you think about it, it doesn't really serve a purpose, and if anything, it detracts from what you're trying to do because it's putting you in a bad mindset.
But it really does point to how important it is in these childhood experiences for parents and caregivers to give, a positive outlook.
Oh, I'm very lucky. My parents were very, they've installed good values, I think, and, good I have a good perspective on where things should be.
Right. And you have an aide that helps you.
Yes.
You didn't drive here today, your aide?
No, I don't drive. My aide drives me.
Right.
She doesn't do anything like, I mean, that sounded bad. She does do things, but I basically go to my house. I live upstairs in an apartment complex, so I have to go down the stairs, go up the stairs, and then I'm outside. But I meet her outside, and she'll drive me to therapy and drive me to errands or anything.
Right.
Because I can't drive, obviously.
And that's one of the hurdles that you had to overcome, which was you were always a can-do person.
Yeah.
Always very independent.
Very independent. I don't like asking people for help. I don't like saying I can't do something. I'm stubborn.
Right. So you had to kind of give in a little bit because we all need help from time to time, and you needed it, of course,
Yes.
at this time. But yet that can do that sense of independence, that spirit.
Yeah,
That helped you get where you are today.
yeah, probably. Because I feel like all this would have been so much harder to deal with if I didn't have like that sport background, the positivity.
Right.
You know, like I grew up in a very good family. My parents have, actually I live with my mom currently. Like I moved in with her so she could help. So she's been awesome. Yeah.
So you've had a lot of help
I have a lot of support.
and a lot of support
Yeah.
and your own self-motivated
Yeah.
personality.
Yes.
You are an amazing story.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
What does the future look like? What do you've done so much. You've accomplished so many things. You've overcome so many hurdles, and you've taken them one step at a time.
Yeah. What I'm hoping for in the future is just continue the way that I'm going. I've gotten to a point where I'm almost walking by myself, like no cane or anything. So that would be a goal, obviously. And another one is I want to get my hand better. Because that's like, it's a disability of communication, I'm telling you. Like, I can't text, I can't call people, like, my voice is horrible. I can't call, like,
Well, let me tell you, your voice,
well, it's gotten a lot
you still
better.
have that spirit, and
Yeah.
that still comes through loud and clear.
Yeah,
And it's a beautiful thing.
that's good. I haven't lost it.
No, you haven't. And for someone who might be embarking on a journey similar to yours, not to say that, everyone's is different, right? Every individual has a different journey to make.
Yeah.
What would you tell them?
Basically, I would just say you have to get your mindset right, like get a good mentality, don't give up. It's gonna be hard. You're gonna go through periods where you're like, I don't know, I'm doing this anymore. And just like, you wanna give up, but it's,
But you keep going.
You can't give up.
Right. And you have people that will help support you and
Yes,
cheer you on.
yes.
And
I have a very good cheering squad.
well, those are reassuring words. And I want to thank you for joining us and, the generosity of sharing your story with us today.
Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. Jordan Oplinger, I want to thank you so much for sharing your story with us today. Thank you. And I want to thank our audience for tuning in. We appreciate your support. Check in with us next time for another episode of Boundless and more personal stories of perseverance, health, and wellness from Good Shepherd Rehabilitation.